The current discourse around women's basketball has brought attention to two of its most prominent figures, A'ja Wilson and Caitlyn Clark. Yet, despite their shared place in the spotlight, the way they have shaped their legacies.
So the Caitlyn Clark jersey retirement ceremony has created some of the funniest discourse I have ever seen.
In this article, we aim to break down the contrasting paths these players have taken and how one has managed to capture the imagination of the basketball world, while the other seems to be clinging to past success without evolving. For a long time, A'ja Wilson was the face of the WNBA. As a young, talented player who rose through the ranks, she was positioned as one of the marquee stars of the league. However, as the years have gone by, there seems to be a shift in attention. Wilson's trajectory, once promising, has hit a plateau. Her recent reactions to Caitlyn Clark's rise to prominence suggest an underlying frustration.
So we need to be completely honest about A'ja Wilson here, because these are some of the dumbest conversations.
That she is no longer the center of attention. While some might view her complaints as justified, the truth is, A'ja Wilson's lack of engagement with her fans and inability to adapt to the changing landscape of the sport have left her in a precarious position. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark has redefined what it means to be a star in women's basketball. From her jaw-dropping performances on the court to her tireless efforts off it, Clark has proven herself to be more than just a player. She has become a cultural phenomenon, an ambassador for the sport, and a household name. Fans flock to her games, not just for the spectacle of her playing, but because they feel a genuine connection to her. This connection goes beyond basketball. It is a bond between Clark and her supporters, forged through her consistent efforts to engage with them, whether it's through hospital visits, autograph signings, or her ever-present social media presence. While Wilson has coasted on the successes of her early career, Clark has worked tirelessly to elevate her brand, both on and off the court. She understands that being a superstar isn't just about playing well, it's about creating moments that will be remembered. This is where Wilson's efforts fall short. Despite her many accolades, she has failed to engage with the audience in the way that Clark has, and it shows. Her recent antics, attempting to play the victim and deflect blame, have done little to endear her to fans who are looking for authenticity and effort.
Ever in sport is surrounding A'ja Wilson. We gotta be completely honest here.
One of the most glaring examples of this contrast is the upcoming jersey retirements of both players, set to take place on February 2nd. While A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement at South Carolina is shaping up to be a rather underwhelming event, Caitlyn Clark's ceremony at Carver Hawkeye Arena promises to be a spectacle. Fans are clamoring for tickets, and the event is expected to be televised nationally, drawing attention from all corners of the sports world. It's not just about the basketball. It's about celebrating a player who has transcended the game and connected with fans on a level that most athletes can only dream of.
And topics that should never have to be said. These are arguments that should never have to be made.
In stark contrast, Wilson's jersey retirement lacks the same energy. There are no plans for a national broadcast, no sold-out crowds, and no buzz surrounding the event. It's almost as if South Carolina is treating the ceremony as a mere formality, hoping it will pass without anyone noticing the lack of excitement. Fans have been vocal in their disappointment, with some even joking that they would only buy a Wilson jersey if it came with a guarantee that she would retire from the spotlight entirely. This stark difference in fan engagement and excitement highlights a crucial point. Fans aren't just interested in watching a game, they want to connect with the players. Caitlyn Clark has given fans every reason to care, from her unforgettable performances to her tireless work off the court. A'ja Wilson, on the other hand, has struggled to build the kind of fan loyalty that Clark has cultivated in such a short amount of time. But the disparity goes beyond jersey retirements and fan attendance. Caitlyn Clark has been making waves in the world of sports media, with her performances consistently drawing record-breaking viewership numbers. For example, her appearance in the 2023 NCAA Women's National Championship game attracted a staggering 7 million viewers, a number that surpassed even the average viewership for NBA games. In comparison, A'ja Wilson's recent All-Star appearances have been met with far less fanfare, barely moving the needle in terms of viewership and engagement. This isn't just about individual statistics. It's about the broader cultural impact these players are having. Caitlyn Clark is proving that women's basketball can be a massive draw when the right player steps onto the court. She has shown the world that it's not about the league or the competition. It's about the player who can elevate the sport to new heights. A'ja Wilson, on the other hand, remains a talented player. In recent years, the landscape of women's basketball has seen a transformative shift. It's no longer just about the games on the court. The players themselves have become larger-than-life figures, cultural icons, and symbols of empowerment for women athletes worldwide. Caitlyn Clark has been at the forefront of this shift, becoming not just a basketball player, but a brand, a movement, and a leader in the charge for women's sports visibility. But the rise of Clark has come at a time when some of the most established names in women's basketball, such as A'ja Wilson, have had to adjust their strategies to stay relevant in an era that demands more than just athletic prowess. It's not enough to be great on the court. Today's stars need to be influencers, marketers, and thought leaders. And Caitlyn Clark, with her unique approach to the game and her cultural savvy, has done just that. In this script, we'll explore the rising dominance of Caitlyn Clark in women's basketball, her ability to transcend the sport itself, and how she has redefined what it means to be a successful athlete in the modern age. We will contrast this with the current situation of A'ja Wilson, once considered the face of the WNBA, and examine why her impact on the sport seems to be diminishing. Caitlyn Clark's journey to basketball superstardom has been nothing short of extraordinary. From a young age, she displayed a unique blend of skill, leadership, and determination that would eventually lead her to become one of the most recognizable names in all of sports.
And I think it's relying on her passing, getting the ball to her, defense double team, A'ja Wilson with a three.
Clark's rise was meteoric, but it wasn't just her play on the court that caught the world's attention. Clark's shooting ability, her court vision, and her electrifying performances have all been well documented. Her ability to make plays from beyond the arc, score in clutch situations, and take over games has captivated fans worldwide. But what sets her apart from other players is her connection with her audience. Clark has made herself a household name, not just because of her talent, but because of her ability to resonate with people of all backgrounds. Her social media presence, her sponsorship deals, and her ability to engage with her fans have made her a symbol of empowerment, and she's used her platform to advocate for women's sports and gender equality. This connection with her audience has been instrumental in her rise as a cultural icon, one who has successfully leveraged the power of social media, digital content, and fan engagement to create a massive following that extends far beyond the basketball court. While Caitlyn Clark has risen to prominence, A'ja Wilson's journey in the WNBA has been one of steady excellence. Wilson's accolades, including MVP honors and championship titles, have solidified her as one of the league's premier players. However, in an era where personality, marketability, and off-court engagement are just as important as performance, Wilson has faced challenges in maintaining her relevance. Wilson's personality, while respected, has often been described as more reserved compared to Clark's outgoing and engaging approach. This has led to criticisms that she has not fully embraced the business side of her career.
Number 22. And they have a game on 2.2, the 2nd of February. They are playing on the 2nd of February at home.
In an era where athletes are expected to build their own brands, Wilson's relatively low-key public persona has raised questions about her long-term influence on the sport. A deeper dive into Wilson's career reveals that while she has been a consistently dominant force in the WNBA, she has not been able to replicate the off-court success that players like Clark have found. This has manifested itself in various ways, from lackluster merchandise sales to fewer high-profile endorsement deals. Despite her accolades, Wilson's brand has not achieved the same level of cultural penetration that Clark's has. The business side of basketball, particularly in the realm of merchandise, has become an increasingly important aspect of a player's overall impact. In the past, athletes were primarily judged by their performance on the court, but in today's world, how well a player can market themselves off the court is just as crucial. Caitlyn Clark's success in merchandise sales is a testament to her brand-building abilities. Her jerseys, autographed memorabilia, and limited edition items regularly sell out, often fetching premium prices. This is not just about being a great player. It's about creating a demand that extends beyond the basketball court. Fans want to be a part of the movement that Clark represents, and they are willing to invest in her brand to feel connected to her journey. A'ja Wilson, by contrast, has struggled to achieve the same level of success in the merchandise market. Her jerseys, priced modestly at $16, have not generated the same level of interest. Fans have joked online that they would only buy a Wilson jersey if it came with a promise that she would step out of the limelight. This speaks volumes about the differences between the two players' marketability. While Clark has embraced her role as an influencer and brand ambassador, Wilson has largely stayed out of the spotlight. The cultural impact of an athlete is often more important than the number of titles they win. Caitlyn Clark has understood this better than most. She's not just building a basketball legacy, she's building a cultural one. Her influence transcends sports, and she's become a role model for young athletes, especially girls, who now have a new standard of what it means to succeed.
In Iowa. So obviously, they are going to retire number 22's jersey on 2.2. They had planned this month.
Clark has used her platform to speak out on important social issues, advocate for women's sports, and create opportunities for the next generation of female athletes. Her success has led to greater visibility for women's basketball, and her impact can be seen in the increasing attendance at WNBA games, the rise of college basketball viewership, and the growing number of young girls playing basketball across the country. Wilson, while still respected and beloved by fans, has not made the same kind of cultural impact. Her focus has largely remained on basketball, and she has not capitalized on the opportunities to build a broader legacy. While Wilson may be a great player, she has not yet become a voice for change or a symbol of empowerment in the same way Clark has. As the landscape of women's basketball continues to evolve,
people still out there saying it ain't good enough. And that right there is all I need. Mere fact, I got 4th place. I ain't an MVP voting, so like in my eyes, it's still someone out.
It's clear that players like Caitlyn Clark will be at the forefront of this change. They understand the importance of building a personal brand, creating connections with fans, and using their platform for good. The future of the sport lies in players who can balance their on-court success with the off-court responsibilities of being a cultural icon. Caitlyn Clark's rise is a blueprint for future players. She has set the standard for what it means to be a successful athlete in the modern era, and her impact will be felt for years to come. The challenge now for players like A'ja Wilson is to adapt to this new reality. It's no longer enough to simply be great on the court. Players must evolve, embrace their roles as influencers, and build a lasting legacy that goes beyond the game of basketball. The rise of Caitlyn Clark represents a paradigm shift in women's basketball.
They're saying I'm not good. So every time now I gotta say, all right, bet, let's go ahead and show these people who's really good. So that's my mindset.
She has proven that with the right mix of talent, charisma, and business acumen, an athlete can become more than just a player. They can become a global phenomenon. While A'ja Wilson's career is far from over, it's clear that she must adapt to the changing landscape of the sport if she hopes to remain relevant in the years to come. Women's basketball is entering a new era, and Caitlyn Clark is leading the charge. The future of the sport is bright, but it will be shaped by those who can balance their athletic achievements with the broader cultural impact that today's fans demand. Players like Clark are not just changing the game, they are changing the world.